There once lived a man whose entire life seemed to be woven from threads of sorrow. No matter what he did, success never came his way. His work bore no fruit. His home was filled with quarrels and unrest, and whenever he turned to others for help, he was met only with rejection and cold indifference. It was as though life itself had turned against him, pressing upon his shoulders with the crushing weight of despair. His nights brought no rest. Sleep eluded him, and dark circles formed under his weary eyes. Often, thoughts of ending his life crossed his mind, whispering that it might be easier to leave the world behind than to endure such ceaseless suffering. And yet, the thought of his family held him back from stepping into that irreversible abyss. One day, filled with determination, the man resolved that he could no longer endure this endless torment. "I must escape my suffering," he told himself. "No matter the cost, no matter the trial, I will find a way to free myself. Even if it means walking across burning coals, I shall do it." When he confided his pain to a friend, the friend advised him, "Go to a holy sage, a Baba. They possess powerful mantras. With their blessings, suffering dissolves, joy returns, and even wealth comes to those who seek earnestly." The man's heart clung to this hope. "Yes, a Baba will save me. A mantra will change my fate." From then on, whenever he heard of the sage or mystic, he rushed to them, pouring out his woes, pleading for a remedy. Each Baba would give him rituals, charms, or instructions, and in return, they demanded offerings of money. The man obeyed every ritual, faithfully lighting lamps, reciting chants, performing sacrifices. Yet nothing changed. Instead of relief, his sorrows deepened, and with every ritual, his pockets grew emptier, until even money slipped away from him. Frustrated, he turned to another suggestion. "Invite a priest into your home to perform a sacred fire ritual," someone told him. "The fire will cleanse your house of all evil, driving away every shadow of suffering." Desperate, the man agreed. A priest was summoned, sacred hymns were chanted, offerings cast into the flames, and when the ceremony ended, the priest too departed with a generous fee. For a few days, the man hoped something might shift. But life, as relentless as ever, remained the same. His house was no brighter, his heart no lighter. Now despair consumed him entirely. "Perhaps my fate is sealed," he thought. "Perhaps I was born only to suffer, and my life will never change." Then one day, he heard whispers of a different kind of Baba, one unlike the others. This sage, people said, asked for no offerings, accepted no money. He gave freely without expecting anything in return. The man's heart stirred with a fragile hope. If he asks for nothing, then he must be genuine. Perhaps he truly holds the secret I have been searching for. And so, with trembling faith and exhausted spirit, the man set out to find this mysterious sage. At last, the weary man found himself at the dwelling of the sage. Unlike the other Babas he had visited, this one was not surrounded by rituals, noise, or seekers clamoring for blessings. Instead, the sage sat quietly in deep meditation, his face serene, untouched by the chaos of the world. The man stood in silence, unwilling to disturb him. He waited patiently, hoping that perhaps the sage would notice his presence. After some time, the sage slowly opened his eyes. His gaze fell upon the troubled man, and with a single glance, he understood the depth of his suffering. "My child," the sage said gently, "why have you come?" The man fell at his feet, tears brimming in his eyes. His voice trembled as he spoke. "Baba, I am drowning in sorrow. I have tried everything: rituals, chants, sacrifices, fire ceremonies. I have followed every instruction given to me, but nothing has worked. My pain has only grown. Sometimes I even think of ending my life, but my family holds me back. I heard of you, and I came here with the last flicker of hope in my heart. Please, Baba, give me a path, a mantra, anything that can free me from this misery. I will do whatever it takes, no matter how difficult it may be." The sage listened quietly. His eyes softened, but his voice remained firm. "My child, mantras are not given so easily. To receive them, one must be willing to practice, to endure, to understand. Are you prepared for such a task?" The man, still desperate, thought the sage was about to ask for wealth like all the others. He quickly replied, "Baba, if you wish for money, I will give what little I have left. Only promise me that the mantra you give will be real, that it will work. I cannot bear another disappointment." The sage smiled faintly and shook his head. "I do not want your offerings. Wealth is of no value to me. What I ask of you is far more difficult than walking on fire or giving away gold." The man's heart leapt. So there truly is a way. "Whatever it is, I will endure it," he thought. Aloud he said, "Please, Baba, even if you ask me to walk across burning coals or climb the highest mountain, I will do it. Just tell me what I must do." The sage leaned closer, his voice calm but filled with gravity. "Very well. As you return home today, I want you to repeat silently in your mind, 'I am happy. I am happy. I am happy.' Say it within your heart, again and again. Let it echo inside you. But remember, you must not say it aloud. It must remain within your mind." The man blinked in surprise. Such a simple mantra, compared to all the elaborate rituals he had performed before. This seemed almost too easy. He nodded quickly. "Yes, Baba, I will do it. But will this really help me?" The sage's eyes twinkled. "You have tried countless mantras and rituals already, have you not? Then try this one too. But listen carefully, there is one condition. As you repeat the words, 'I am happy,' you must not think of a monkey, not even once. If the thought of a monkey enters your mind, the mantra will fail." The man almost laughed. "A monkey? Why would I think of a monkey? I have never thought of monkeys in my life. This is simple enough." Confidently, he assured the sage, "Do not worry, Baba. I will only repeat your mantra. No monkey will ever trouble my mind." He bowed low, his heart lightened for the first time in many years, and left the sage's presence with renewed hope. As he walked away, silently repeating to himself, "I am happy, I am happy," something strange happened. A sudden image flashed in his mind of a monkey, leaping from tree to tree. Startled, he tried to push it away. "Why am I thinking of a monkey now? I never thought of monkeys before. This must be some trick of the mind." The harder he tried to resist the thought, the more vividly the monkey appeared, swinging, chattering, grinning mischievously. The man clenched his fists, his heart racing. "No, I must not think of the monkey. I must focus only on the mantra." Yet the more he struggled, the stronger the monkey's presence became. Every step, every breath, the monkey seemed to follow him. By the time he reached home, he was so tormented by the thought that he accidentally blurted out to his wife, "Bring me some food, monkey woman." He froze in horror. His wife stared at him, bewildered. The man grabbed his head, pulling at his hair, banging his forehead against the wall. "What madness is this? Never in my life did I think of monkeys, and now they haunt me everywhere. Why did this happen? Why has this mantra made things worse?" That entire night, he tossed and turned, unable to sleep, monkeys crowding his mind. By morning, broken and exhausted, he rushed back to the sage, fell at his feet, and cried, "Baba, what is happening to me? Since yesterday, I see monkeys everywhere. In my mind, in my speech, even behind you, I see a monkey eating bananas on the tree. Please tell me what is happening to me. Why has my suffering only increased?" The sage looked at him calmly and began to laugh. The sage looked at the man trembling before him, his eyes wide, his hair disheveled, his voice broken with desperation. Instead of pity, the sage smiled gently and said, "My child, now you have seen the true nature of the mind." The man, bewildered, cried out, "But Baba, I do not understand. I never thought of monkeys before. Why, the moment you told me not to, they filled every corner of my thoughts. What curse is this? What magic have you bound me with?" The sage chuckled softly, shaking his head. "There is no curse, no magic, only the simple truth of how the mind works. The more we try to push something away, the stronger it takes hold of us. You see, when I told you not to think of a monkey, you immediately created an image of a monkey in your mind. And in trying to chase it out, you gave it even greater power. What you resist does not leave, it grows." The man stared, still confused, his lips trembling. "But Baba, I only wanted to be happy. I repeated the mantra faithfully, 'I am happy. I am happy,' yet all I found was torment. Why did the words not work?" The sage's eyes softened. "Because you spoke the words with your lips, but your heart was still chained to sorrow. You longed so desperately to escape your misery that misery itself occupied your every thought. You see, my child, when you say, 'I am happy,' yet deep inside you only feel your suffering. Your mind clings to suffering instead of joy. This is the trap of the mind." The man lowered his head, tears slipping down his face. His whole life suddenly unfolded before him in a cruel mirror. Every night he had whispered to himself, When will I be free from this pain? And yet every night the pain grew heavier. He realized that he had been feeding the very suffering he wished to destroy. The sage continued, his voice calm but firm. Understand this. The mind is like fertile soil. Whatever seed you plant in it will grow. But if, instead of planting joy, you keep watering sorrow, then sorrow will bloom all around you. By constantly thinking, I must get rid of my suffering, I must escape my pain, you gave your suffering more strength, more roots, until it grew into a forest that covered your entire being. The day you stop fighting your sorrow, the day you stop running from it, that is the day it will loosen its grip. For what you do not feed will wither. The man raised his eyes slowly. His voice was fragile, like a child's. Baba, are you saying that as long as I fight against my suffering, it will remain? That the harder I try to push it away, the deeper it will sink into me? The sage nodded. Yes, my child. This is why people fail to break their bad habits. Why they struggle with addictions. Why they repeat mistakes, even when they swear not to. A man may say, I will never smoke again. I will never drink again. Yet all day long he is thinking of cigarettes, of alcohol, of temptation. By trying to push it away, he actually invites a deeper dot to be free. One must not resist, but simply let go. Do not fight the thought. Do not cling to it. Let it rise and fall like a wave on the ocean. Only then will your heart be open to true happiness. The man sat in silence, his mind racing. All these years, he had believed that rituals, charms, and desperate struggles could bring him peace. Yet here, in a single teaching, the sage had shattered his illusions. His suffering was not a curse from the world, not a punishment from fate. It was a creation of his own mind. He felt both terrified and relieved. Terrified, because it meant there was no one else to blame. No ritual, no God, no curse, only himself. Relieved, because it also meant that the key to his freedom was already within him. The sage looked into his eyes and said softly, do not seek to drive away your pain. Instead, turn your mind gently toward joy. Not with fear, not with force, but with trust. Do not say, I am happy, while secretly clinging to your grief. Feel the seed of happiness as though it already exists within you. Nurture it with calmness, with stillness. Stop fighting the shadows, and you will see the light that was always there. The man's heart trembled as though he had been struck by lightning. For the first time, he began to see that his suffering was not an unchangeable destiny, but a pattern he himself had woven. The sage placed a hand on his shoulder. Remember, my child, what you give attention to grows. If you fixate on sorrow, sorrow multiplies. If you embrace joy with a quiet mind, joy blossoms. This is the law of the mind. This is the law of life. The man bowed deeply, his tears now falling not from despair, but from awakening. He whispered, Baba, I think I am beginning to understand. The sage smiled. Good, then you have already taken your first step out of the darkness. The sage sat quietly for a long while, letting the man's tears flow, letting the silence sink deep into his heart. Silence, after all, was sometimes the greatest teacher. At last, the sage spoke, his voice as steady as the wind moving through. The trees. My child, now listen carefully. The mind is a trickster. It gives power to whatever you fight against. When you battle sorrow, sorrow grows stronger. When you chase after happiness, happiness runs farther away. This is why your life has been a chain of suffering. You have been running, chasing, fighting, never resting, never allowing life to be what it is. The man nodded slowly. His whole body trembled as if his soul was finally awakening from a long nightmare. He whispered, Then, Baba, how do I truly become free? How do I let happiness take root in me? The sage's eyes shone with a gentle light. You must learn to stop resisting. When a sorrowful thought comes, do not cling to it, and do not force it away. Simply see it, acknowledge it, and let it drift past you like a cloud floating across the sky. When you do not grasp at it, when you do not fear it, it will pass. This is the art of freedom. Instead of repeating, I must not suffer, I must not be unhappy, simply turn your heart toward what is beautiful. Feel gratitude for the smallest joys, the warmth of sunlight, the laughter of your child, the breath in your chest. Let your mantra, I am happy, be not a desperate wish, but a gentle truth you allow yourself to live. Slowly, without force, happiness will seep into your being, just as fragrance fills a flower. The man felt something stir within him, a softness, a lightness he had never known. For the first time, the phrase, "I am happy," did not feel like a lie on his lips. It felt like a seed, fragile yet alive, waiting to grow. The sage continued, his words flowing like a river. This is also the secret of the law of attraction that many speak of. It is not about clinging to desires with desperation, nor about forcing your mind to chant empty words. It is about aligning your inner being with what you seek. If your heart is chained to fear, then fear will color your life. If your heart quietly embraces joy, then joy will find you, even in the smallest of places. Remember this. You do not need to fight darkness. Light a lamp, and darkness disappears on its own. So too with sorrow, stop struggling against it, and instead nourish the light of peace within. Then sorrow will fade naturally. The man closed his eyes. The sage's words flowed into him like healing rain falling on parched earth. He saw his whole life clearly now, how he had chased one ritual after another, how he had begged sages for magic solutions, how he had drowned himself in fear of suffering. All along, the true power had been within him, the power of his own mind, the choice of where to rest his attention. When he opened his eyes again, they shone not with despair, but with quiet determination. He pressed his forehead to the feet of the sage and whispered, "Baba, today you have given me more than a mantra. You have given me myself. I understand now. I must stop feeding sorrow, stop wrestling with pain. I will live gently. I will turn toward joy. From this day, I will plant seeds of happiness within my heart." The sage placed his hand upon the man's head, blessing him. "Go, my child. Walk your path with calmness. Do not seek happiness as if it were a treasure hidden outside of you. It is already within you, waiting to bloom. The moment you stop resisting life, life itself will embrace you. That is the wisdom beyond struggle." The man left the sage's dwelling. The world outside was the same, the trees, the road, even the chatter of monkeys in the branches above. But within him, something had shifted. For the first time, he did not see the monkeys as an annoyance or a curse. He simply smiled at them, let the thought come, and let it pass. And as he walked home, silently repeating to himself, "I am happy. I am happy," the words no longer felt forced. They were not a desperate escape from pain, but a gentle recognition of the joy already alive in his heart. From that day onward, the man's life began to change. Not because the world itself had shifted, but because his mind had. Where once he had seen only sorrow, he now found glimpses of peace. Where once he had fought endlessly, he now allowed life to flow. Slowly, the seed of happiness grew, and with it, his entire existence blossomed. The sage's teaching had proven true. The moment one stops fighting sorrow and begins to live in harmony with joy, suffering dissolves like mist under the morning sun. And thus, the man discovered the deepest truth of all, that freedom, happiness, and peace are not gifts to be begged for, nor prizes to be won, but the natural state of a heart that has learned to let go.